All right, we are live.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Eric. Welcome everybody to this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, great. Welcome everybody to the External Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting. Today's the June 8th and it's 2:30 p.m. We have an agenda here, and I just kind of wanted to give our guests or anybody watching this kind of an idea of how these break down. There are three types of meetings that CAT has. We have board meetings, and then we have governance meetings, and then we have committee meetings. And we are currently in a committee meeting. There are two other committees that are chaired by two other board members, and those are the Performance Monitoring and Audit Committee and the Strategic Operational Planning Committee. In this committee, the point is to bring external stakeholders closer to CAT. And so it was an idea of ours a couple months ago to invite three different guests from the community to this meeting for a number of different goals. One of them is to just have y'all meet Eric and meet Bren and meet our interim director and all the amazing people that make CAT run. And then also kind of learn about the nuts and bolts of the decisions that our board is making on a regular basis to keep things moving, as well as provide comments or questions or ideas to help us facilitate some of your goals. So every committee meeting, I'll be inviting three different members, and you guys are our second test. And the last meeting went really great. And I was really pleased with how that worked out. And we're already getting some outcomes met from that. And so it should be exciting to see how this kind of continues bringing CAT closer to the work that we're all doing in this community. So the way the agenda is going to break down is we have some presentations from staff. We then go through the proposed agenda items for the board meeting on June 22nd. We may be able to, we're going to get some updates from staff as to what those are. And then we've got old and new business. And in that part, I've put aside a time on the agenda for y'all to provide any input or any concerns, questions, ideas, excitement that you've got. Explicitly, that's y'all's time. But you should, entire meeting, feel empowered to interrupt and question and be a part of the process. You're not observers. I would like for y'all to engage if you would like. And then we'll adjourn. So that's the deal. Any questions? Okay, great. Let's get the show on the road. Let's see. Yeah, who wants to lead us through? Ms. Ragland, do you want to lead us through presentations?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Director Edminster, and welcome to each of you, Bren and Jackie, Mr. O'Neill. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Let me interrupt you there real quick. So on this committee, the two board chairs are, or the two people on this committee are myself and Commissioner Bobby Lockett. Bobby is on here. I couldn't see him because my phone only has 4 people on it. So I just want to make sure that we've noted he is here as well. There's also a bunch of staff members on here. So I will return it back to you, Valerie. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And before we proceed with the agenda, I'd like to request that we remove 2 items. That would be item B, RFQ for zero emission bus rollout plan. I'm still awaiting some information on that, so I don't have everything that I need. I'd like to remove that from the agenda at this time. And also item H, which is strategic plan update. I'm going to include that in the interim CEO's update for the regular board meeting. So I would like to remove it from the agenda and have it included in the update. Okay. And we'll move forward with Mr. Cooksey as he brings to us COVID emergency measures.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to meet everyone. Actually, I'm bringing forward the extension of COVID emergency measures. Just a quick update. The TSA, in conjunction with the CDC, has extended the mask mandate until September 13th. And we fall in line with that. And that requirement is for, will continue at airports, aboard commercial flights, and all other public transportation. One of the things that we're looking for to come down the pike at some point is the social distancing piece of 6 feet. So currently, no changes have been made in reference to social distancing as it relates to mass transit. So we're still following our 6 feet of distance. And again, as far as the mask mandate, we will continue that until September 13th or until further notice. What did come up on the last 2 meetings, I mentioned originally Dr. O'Halloran had mentioned that this be a standing item since we presented this every month since March, and there really have not been any severe changes to it. That we just have it as a standing order until September when we revisit the mask mandate at that time, or unless something else comes up prior to that, and then we can bring it back up. I know Dr. Robinson also spoke that she thought we should continue it each month. So I'm sure it'll circle back around to everyone else to chime in on it. But that's all I have to report on the extension of emergency measures.
Mr. Cooksey, I got a quick question. Okay, I'm not
Yes.
muted. When the DOT shuttle comes back online, or any of the other contracted services we provide, those will also have to follow mask mandates, et cetera, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir, at this time.
All right, sounds good.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Join the meeting.
Okay, Stephanie, if you would come forward with the RFP for the bus wash.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm presenting an agenda submission for to move forward with an RFP for a bus wash system. Currently, CAT's bus wash system is inoperable. Therefore, we need to move forward. Right now, the mode of bus cleaning is inefficient as we have to wash the buses by hand, which pulls employees from other needed services. The type of system that we look forward to procuring is a drive-through system, and it's a system that will allow us to clean the entire CAT fleet. That includes the paratransit vehicle, which is a specially sized vehicle. This will allow us to also wash and service the vehicles daily. Any questions?
So we have a bus wash system, but it's broken,
Yes.
and we want to get a new one. And yeah, I'm just looking in the agenda item. That mainly, those expenses will be covered by SPLOST and federal grants.
Yes.
How much does something like that cost?
Well, we'll be soliciting proposals for the cost with the features. Don't know what those proposals will look like as of yet in terms of costs until they come in.
That's what we'll be bringing forward. The board director administer the request to allow us to do that, to submit for an RFP.
Got it. Okay, that'll be helpful.
Yes.
And our goal with and I'm just reading the description on here, our goal with this is to be able to wash buses at a far higher frequency than we are currently doing right now, all the buses.
Yes, and to provide that services to the entire fleet and not just the fixed route.
Right. Yes, because previously the old bus wash only was able to wash the large fixed route buses. The paratransit buses had to be hand washed or taken somewhere.
Got it. All right, I'm good with that.
Okay. So are there any other questions for Ms. Cutter?
Is this project in our budget for 2022?
Yes, the funding is available, and that's why we are bringing this to the board so that we can move forward with releasing the RFP for
Makes
this
sense.
purpose.
Okay, cool. That's all the question I've got.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'll move forward with the classification and compensation study. Just a little bit of history. The board actually approved a classification and compensation study in 2019. But I think the bid came in about $90,000, which the board thought was a bit high. So they canceled the award to the provider. So we are again realizing the need to have this assessment done, to properly have job descriptions written for our employees, also to have fair and equitable compensation for them as well. So we have already received 3 quotes, and they are listed in your packet. We would like the board to award to Management Advisory Group International at a cost of $22,800. And it was provided in the previous, or during our budget negotiations, we set an amount of $25,000 as a line item for this assessment because we knew it would be needed. So we're really pleased that we were able to receive this quote at $22,800. And it's notable to mention that this is the same agency that did the study for the city of Savannah. So we're really pleased with that. Are there any questions?
I don't.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll move on to the donated leave. And please allow me to amend the agenda item as a donated leave plan rather than policy, because we're in the process of putting together the policy. We don't have the policy as of yet, but this is the plan. We are hoping that we will be able to bring forth before the board, and hopefully they'll approve it, a plan that would allow Chatham Area Transit employees to donate leave time to those employees who might be in emergency medical situations. We feel this is a good way to raise morale, to bring about camaraderie, and then supply a need to those who really need it. We have not yet set parameters for it. We're in the process of doing it, and I'm working with Carolyn Smalls, HR at Chatham County, and her staff to put together something that would satisfy what we need here at Chatham Area Transit. But I think this is a great opportunity for us to help those who are in a position to help those who might not be so fortunate.
I don't have a question, but I would just like to commend you all for looking at a plan such as this and trying to implement a policy. I think this is an absolutely, like you said, a great way to boost morale. And I love seeing CAT look at something like this for its employees. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. This is something actually I've been wanting to do for about 20 years.
Wow.
I really have. And this is an opportunity for me to just say, let's go for it. Let's see what we can do, because I've always seen the need. And I think this is something that's doable for us. As I said, we're working on the policy itself, but we are looking at parameters that we might want to set. We've already reviewed several agencies like ourselves, transit agencies, as well as the county's policy, and we're just putting it together. So yes, I'm very excited about this. I don't know why I'm reverberating. I don't know why. Okay, maybe it's settled. Okay, we're good now.
Okay, yeah, no reverberation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is a really fantastic idea, and just it seems to give, everybody a little bit more flexibility, while at the same time, protecting the bottom line for the organization. And that, oh, it's coming back.
It might be because you're using 2 devices in that room.
The other one doesn't have audio on.
Oh,
Maybe Beverly or Eric, help us. I just think this is great. My one question, more of a technical question, does this need board approval at all?
well, all policies come before the board. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you are a policy maker before, so all policies, we bring all policies to the board.
Okay. Is that? Can we try to figure out the echo? Okay. Well, whoever that was left. Cool. All right.
It'll be a great example for others. So I hope that when you guys do it, that you share that information, or do a press release or something, because I think it's a great example for others to maybe think about that they haven't.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll do that. We'll let everyone know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, Brent.
Okay. Are there any other questions of me?
I'm good here.
Okay, well, we'll move forward then with Bryn Dice, who will bring to you the fair policy revision. Bryn?
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm just going to take a second to share my screen so that you can see some of the points that I am making here about our fair policy update. So there we go. The purpose of the fair policy is to ensure the proper procedures, equipment, and technology are in place to safeguard employees, minimize the opportunity for theft or mishandling of fair revenues, and ensure that proper safeguards and controls exist for non-cash revenue items such as tickets and passes. And we have a policy. It was most recently updated in 2014, but this seems like a good time to update our policy for several reasons. Of course, 7 years seems like a good time to update policies anyway. We know that our triennial review is coming up later this fall. And in addition, as you know, the board voted earlier this year to extend the half fair category to all military veterans. We also really wanted to just make it easier to understand and make sure that it was straightforward language, and so worked through that as well. And so I just wanted to touch on a few of the key points that we have amended. Now, just as an aside, I have a red line version of the proposed update that I will ask Ms. Beverly to send out to the board this afternoon. So you will have, you will be able to see side by side what the policy was and what changes we are proposing. But as a snapshot, these are the changes that we are proposing. We're proposing a discount at a glance category. So in the current fair policy, any discounts are at the sole discretion of the CEO. And we just wanted to give a few more points in the policy that talked about how discounts might work. For example, we talked about $5 off the bulk purchase of 60 tickets, $10 off the bulk purchase of 100, or $25 off the bulk purchase of 200. And that amounts to about between 6 and 9% for one-way tickets. Now, it may be worth looking at what happens if they bought an all-day pass. So the percentage would be less, but maybe we'll change that to be a dollar amount, $5 off if you spend $90, or $10 off if you spend $150. So either way, you'll have that proposed in the draft that you see this afternoon. In addition, we removed some language about old technology. We had some language in there about fair vending machines, and those we don't have anymore, so don't need to talk about them. We added language on the Veterans Half Fair program, and we also added language on mobile ticketing and online purchase information, just to get up to the 2021 technology. And again, most of the rest of the updates in this proposed fair policy are language clarity, and you will see that later on this afternoon.
Okay, are there any questions for Bryn? in relation to the fair policy update?
I got a question, Brent.
Yes.
Who is the audience for the fair policy? Is that mainly board of directors and staff?
It is. It's really just to make sure that we have fair and equitable policies and procedures throughout the organization. So it is something that generally it would be for us and the board.
Okay. I took the bus the other day and we were driving around and I was having a conversation with two of the folks I was on the bus with, and we had a conversation about fairs, and they asked how much it covers of CAT's budget. And I replied, I think it's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11%, anywhere between like 7 and 11%, which is on average for transit. And I think it would be interesting, and I don't want, to necessarily hold this up in any way, but it would be interesting to just do a workshop with us as staff and board as to what is the goal with fairs. Is it to cover a certain percentage? And if that's the case, then how do we sort of make sure that we're getting to that? Is it to ensure that people are on the bus to use the bus and not on the bus for a variety of other reasons? And I think if we can do some work as to figuring out what is the goal of the fair, if the fair doesn't pay for all of the bus and it pays for like about 10% of it, then what could we do to sort of creatively think about what fairs do and how we can implement them? And it was just sort of something that we had a really interesting conversation about that I think would be a great little workshop for us to go through that as well. But I'm not going to have that put any of this at risk of not passing. So I think this sounds great. 7 years is kind of a long time for a policy.
I like that idea, actually. And that, yes, we are heavily subsidized because we know that our fair revenue is not going to cover our operation costs, but that makes sense to have a board workshop about what it does and what our goals are, and have more discussion, more feedback from you all so that we have a better understanding of what you all want as well. I like it.
That could help staff sort of think about what are creative ways we can provide that we can use discounts, that we can try to do stuff. My batteries are going to go away. What are different ways that to provide you guys with some of the direction for how we can be implementing a fair and what it does? And I just think it's once you disconnect it from the concept of, oh, I'm paying for this ride. You're really not paying for the ride. You're paying for something else. And what is that thing? I think if we had a clear idea of what it was, that's something we could share with the community and with ourselves to help create better programs.
I like it. Yes, we will work on that for you.
Yeah, just think about it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation, Director Edminster, because as Brent said, the fair collection is very, very small, and you stated yourself, very small percentage of total revenue for Chatham Area Transit. And in these last year or so, it's been even smaller.
It's been zero.
Yes. So yeah, I think those kinds of conversations, anytime we can educate the board and ourselves collectively and collaboratively, is a good thing.
Well, and one thing that, not to stay on the subject for too long, but they asked the two folks I was with, they asked if I supported, fare-free buses. And I would say 2 years ago, almost adamantly I supported that. But then as I had conversations with you guys and with other, conversations at APTA and with bus drivers here, is that, oh, actually, maybe a fare-free service isn't the best idea, because then you have no filter. Because I believe that the bus should be used for moving people who need transportation, and not necessarily for shelter, and not necessarily for for other things. Because as soon as we loot that, we're gonna run into so many different problems. So it's not really that you're paying for the ride. You're it's like a token of intent for I am here to use this as a transportation service. And that's kind of all. It's not paying for the ride. And I think thinking about it in a different way could be helpful with what we're trying to do with it, and make sure that we're able to, you know, not make any barriers for our customers, but at the same time, not just have everybody on the bus.
Yes, sir.
I'll shut up.
Fascinating conversation. I'm enjoying it.
Isn't that cool?
I'm learning so much from all of you already.
I am too. Brent, I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, I love this. I think it's great. I think that's a great idea.
All right. Other than that, I don't have any more questions, at least me personally.
Okay. Well, we'll move to Mr. Hall as he presents the information about the property and casualty insurance renewal.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's that time of year where CAT has to renew its insurance policies with Seacrest. We're still in Seacrest Partners. We are anticipating a slight increase in our premiums this year because we're adding more buses to our paratransit fleet. And we also have 6 additional electric buses that we have to add to this fleet. So we are anticipating some additional increases with our premiums. We also have Cindy from Sterling Seacrest that will be presenting the information to the board on the 22nd. And so with those anticipated increases, I think the budget has already been drafted in a sense that we'll make those accommodations. And I know there were some last minute amendments to that budget. So we're within guidelines of where we are, but just wanted to alert you to the fact that there are some increases in our coverages because of the increases in the fleet. Are there any questions?
Is this the same presentation? I know we get a lot of I know we pay for a lot of insurance, but is this the same conversation we had at the previous at the previous meeting where the numbers went down?
No, that was for health insurance.
Yeah, that was
okay, there we go. This is
Yes.
for equipment and the assets.
Right. Facilities, buses, yes.
Okay, I just want everybody out there to know that while this number may go up, our health insurance number actually is going down, which I think actually I don't even know.
We did see a 3%
worried.
decrease in health insurance. The first time it's happened in more than 50 years.
Yep.
That's nuts. So
Congratulations.
cool. I know.
That is notable.
That's not even real. So it's I'm okay. You know, I think we got to protect our fleet, and we do have some more expensive units on the property. So sounds good to me. I'm not going to argue with that.
And also those increases do include workers' comp too. All that's all packaged together.
Great.
And as Mr. Hall said, that the Seacrest Sterling will be making a presentation to the board. It'll be brief, somewhat like it was last month with the health insurance. It'll be very brief, but they will submit a presentation to the board at that regular scheduled board meeting.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
sir. Yes, sir. Remember, we removed the strategic plan update, so we're down to the old business, sir.
Do we have any old business?
We do, in that we are still seeking recommendations from the board in reference to the standing committee restructure. I will share that in the first meeting today, Dr. Halloran is suggesting a format whereas the board members come together for a general update, if you will, then go move into breakout sessions according to each topic or each committee. And that's just something that's being proposed by Dr. Halloran. But we would ask that if you have any recommendations or suggestions, that you would get them to me before or by Thursday, the 10th, or to Commissioner Lockett as well. If you have any recommendations or anything that you would like to share with me in reference to the restructure of the committees, I'd be happy to consider them.
I'll give it to you. I'll call you and give it to you. I'll give it to you in writing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, it's a board decision. Of course,
Sure
the board will have to decide how they want to restructure, but we are hoping that the board will realign, mutually realign with the organization, and that we're going back to the original structure of committees with finance, system development, and service delivery. So we're hoping that the board will realign with those committees in mind.
I like that.
Thank you.
I also know that we have two other committees that are mentioned somewhere in the thousands of pages of paperwork that is CAT, about a ridership committee and a, oh God, what's the other one? Y'all know what I'm talking about. What are those?
I think I know exactly what you're talking about, but those are not board committees. Those are community stakeholder committees.
Yeah. Can we conclude those in, because I feel like we just sort of keep sort of like talking about them and then they never really get actually stood up. I think if we could include those in what we're planning on doing with this, so that the board, and this might be, you know, here's what I would provide, is that the board should have more responsibility for making those happen. And I think that would ensure that they do happen, and we can continue making sure that we've got those relationships between the ridership. I cannot remember what the other board was. One is ridership, the other one.
They were actually called the Transit Advisory Committee and the Business Advisory Committee.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
And the Transit Advisory was more so with the passengers that actually use the services, whereas of course the business were business stakeholders and community partners.
Got it. I think if we can include those in this effort, we would do very well to try to be bringing more people into the conversation. I mean, I think just like from the success we've had with this meeting today, you know, and you guys just learning more about fairs, and the last one, I'd like to be able to continue that in some sort of fashion.
Okay. Yes, sir. And I just let you know, Director Edminster, that at the conclusion of this meeting, or hopefully before the end of the week, I'm going to send a summary to all of the members of the board in reference to these comments like you're making right now, so that everyone will have that information. So I'll make I'll complete a summary to send to all the members of the board as a result of the 3 meetings we've held today.
Cool, that sounds great.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, so now we are in the, I wanted to just see if any of our guests are, well, actually, I would request that each of you, we probably should have done this earlier, but if you could introduce yourselves real quick and what you do, your favorite color, stuff like that. That would be helpful. And also, once we go through that, then we can kind of just break into an open-ended conversation. If you have any announcements of programs that you might be doing, or if you have programs that you might be doing that need transportation, or you want to think about maybe transportation and how that affects what you're trying to work on, which probably is going to be everybody, then now is the time to do that. And let's start with you, Bryn.
Thank you, Clinton. Thanks for can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it came back and said I was muted again. Thank you for the invitation to join. I didn't know what to expect, but I already learning things that I didn't know about the operation of Chatham Area Transit and transportation in general. We do partner with you guys in particular. Let me just share for anyone who doesn't know. Number one, United Way mobilizes the caring power of community to to improve lives. So our focus is improving lives. And that was just a tagline to me when I started over a year ago. But the gift of COVID was that I now deeply understand and appreciate what that means, mobilizing the caring power of community where we all come together to help improve lives. And it's been a privilege to experience. And one part of that is certainly our partnership with Chatham Area Transit. We have a program that is lifted up and advanced by Women United, and it is a transportation fund. And every single year we raise money so that we are able to help people with the costs of transportation. And frankly, it's focused on women and children, but frankly, we maintain funds so that even if we need to help gentlemen, we are able to do so. And bus passes are an important part of our support of people who need transportation. So we're really grateful for the service you provide. I would love, and I had wanted, Clinton mentioned that I was on vacation last week. So I felt like I was hit by a bus yesterday on return. You're punished for vacation. I meant to, and I'm sorry that I did not include our 211 director, Ariane Wallace. She and her team take the calls every single day from around the county and around the region and try to connect people with the programs and services that they need to improve their lives, to solve a problem, to meet a crisis. And I really would like maybe at another time, Clinton, we can connect Ariane with this meeting or just coordinate a meeting with Kat and Ariane anyway. But that is a little bit about United Way. Thank you to Chatham Area Transit that always runs a campaign every year. We're super grateful, and we're grateful to be here with the two other partners that are just doing amazing things to improve lives in our community and in our region. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I don't have any questions, Brent, but I'd just like to thank you and the United Way for the program that you do for supplying those tickets to those women in need, and sometimes gentlemen too.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a long time, and we just thank you because it's a need, and you feel that need. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And I think that if we connect Ariane, there might be even more things that we can do together. If we see a need, we can imagine what the solution is that we can partner to achieve.
I'd be happy to meet with her.
One thing I want to make sure that everybody is aware of is CAT's new mobile ticketing technology, which allows you to use a credit or debit card to purchase tickets and display them on your phone.
That's awesome.
Which way easier to buy tickets to get access to CAT buses. And I think especially with the amount of folks that all of us are working with, employees and people that need to get to work, which is kind of everybody, that's a really important part to our goals of trying to increase ridership and help people getting to work. So I would encourage, Bryn, Jackie, and Mike to make sure that you guys have all the information you need, and please reach out to CAT staff if you need any more to empower all of y'all's networks with that information. It's easy to use and it's really cool.
When was that implemented?
We've been working on that for like a while, and then and it was like, oh, well, we're not going to charge anybody anyways. It started maybe about 2 months ago.
Okay, 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's quite new.
I just noticed it when Bryn did her presentation on fairs. It was the first time I'd seen it. Forgive me for having missed that before. But I'd love to help promote that, and even through our social media, and make sure that people we work with know about it.
Yeah, I think.
Agreed. I would love, like Brent, this is the first I saw it as well. So I apologize. I'm sure there was information sent out about it and I completely missed it. But I would love, if there's a graphic or, any information that could be forwarded, I would love to put that in our weekly newsletter that we're doing. and on social as well. Anything we can do to promote that, I think that's great.
I will send a joint email with Brent and Ms. Ragland on them. And so I think if you guys, if CAT staff can forward all this information, whatever you got, all of it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's real cool.
Well, Eric Curl is on the call. He's available, and I know he's taking notes right now. So I'm sure he's gathering these things in his mind.
Thanks, Eric. All right, Michael, do you want to go?
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Clinton, and I'm looking out in the group, and many of you I've worked with for quite some time. Ms. Valerie,
Yes.
Good to see you, and
Good to see you
of
too.
course, Stephanie, one of our board members, is good to see her on the call as well. I've enjoyed the conversation. I really have, and the way you talk about your service, I have felt that very engaging as well, and how you see it as a service. I find that very important. And my name is, by the way, my name is Michael O'Neill, and the organization that I'm associated with is Parent University here in Savannah. And our mission is to connect families with resources in the community, because all too many times resources exist and people don't know. Or even if they know they're there, they don't know how to use them. They don't know the depth of the service. They may know it at a superficial level. And so many of our people who use participants, protagonists that use our organization, use CAT. And have used it for quite some time. I can remember actually getting tickets.
Yes.
Miss Valerie.
Yes, I remember. Well.
Yes. Because many of our parents use a variety of modes. Now that we're leaving the COVID pandemic type of configuration we've been in the last 14 or 15 months, and people are actually going places again, we will, of course, once again, need our parents to know these things are available. Also, what I sense is that Clinton, I always want to say Ed because your last name starts with Ed. But Clinton, the other thing I would like some of our parents to be some of those parents that you talk to on the bus. I would like them to be able to give that feedback, which drives these kind of meetings and allows us to make policy as a result of actual feedback of users. I think that's huge. And so what we do is try to make sure that our citizenry feels as though it can contribute to the direction of policy making and things of this nature. So this was a very informative meeting for me on many levels. But what I want to share the most is that I felt that the way you spoke at this, all of you spoke at this meeting, was with a certain level of care for the riders, and that impressed me. And I'm glad to be here. And as all of you know, you'll be hearing from me as we are now going back into the community. People are traveling again, and I hope that this isn't my last opportunity to talk to this committee or interact with CAT over the weeks, months, and years to come. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. O'Neill. We do have a long history, and I know that as you say, as we come out of this pandemic, we're going to re-engage. I know we will.
Yes.
And you speak of, so a little bit about me. I've always had the interests of the passengers at heart. So thank you for that, and look forward to continuing to work with you in Parent University.
I appreciate you.
Did I hear right that who was on your board?
Miss Stephanie Cutter.
Oh, no way. I did not know that. Stephanie is on this call. Again, I can only see like the first 4 people. Very cool. Yeah, no, we're glad to have Stephanie's been here, what, like 2-3 months? A lot has happened in the last couple of months with just getting this organization up to speed, especially out of COVID.
Yes.
But Michael, I would also kind of your last point too about like, I think we're trying to figure out at CAT how to bettering, at least me personally, I'm interested in I can't even talk. I'm interested in using my board position to better engage with community members and try to bring people into conversations about transit. I have learned from this group of people, from CAT staff, transit is so fundamental to like literally this whole community working at all. And it's amazing every time we bring people in, and every time we bring people in to not just this committee meeting, but other workshops or stuff we do. I think Bryn said it best, that you don't realize what you don't know. And that really helps, sort of help, I think, the community understand why we're making the decisions we're making and the reasons behind it. And it helps tremendously with trying to provide better service. So I would love some input from you guys, from our guests here today, with how CAT can do a better job, and how this committee itself, or myself as a board member, can do a better job for creating strong and resilient systems for engagement that go beyond my time as on the board, but really are sort of, how do we get that back at CAT? So if you got any questions, or you got any ideas, let me know.
Will do.
Okay, and finally we've got Jackie.
Hello, everyone. Jackie Schott. I'm the executive director for the Savannah Downtown Business Association. And, like Bren, I didn't quite know what to expect today, but when Clinton emailed me and asked me to come on today, my first thought was, yes, absolutely, because I want to learn more. I need to learn more. As everybody said, transit is such an integral part in the downtown business community. And yet I feel like it's something that we aren't talking about enough, about how much it affects downtown business and how important it is. And so I was really excited to just come on and hear a little bit more about what you all are talking about and working on. And I certainly got a lot out of this today. So thank you to this group and to Clinton. Clinton, I think just things like this right now, inviting different external stakeholders, I think all three of us, said that we learned something here today. And I think it's spawning ideas. And I feel like there are so many potential partnership opportunities between all of our organizations that are on today, but also with CAT, that my wheels are just spinning now. And I think the more you can invite external community leaders to meetings such as this to just start that conversation and get those wheels turning, I think that will in turn spawn more participation and more activity and partnerships between the community. Just today we were talking about some workforce development initiatives with the Downtown Business Association's Advocacy Committee. And speaking about a job fair, one of the first things somebody said was, well, how can we ensure wherever our location is for the job fair, we need to ensure that everyone has equal opportunity to get to that location. So let's look at CAT stops. Where is a location that might be large enough to fit our event that includes a CAT stop nearby, because it is such an important part of the conversation and what we're talking about. So again, I just think there are so many potential partnership opportunities, and I commend you all for allowing a couple people each meeting to just come in and hear what you have going on so that we can educate ourselves and in turn, hopefully help you all along the way as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jack. Okay, well, with that being said, I just again want to encourage y'all to, stay tuned to what CAT is doing. Please reach out. please feel, and I'm saying this on behalf of the staff, but reach out to them. These are amazing people that spend all day long thinking about transit and how to provide services that help all of the people that all of us are working with all day long. And I'm about to lose battery power. But other than that, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. Thank you, staff, for some really informative presentations. Unless anybody has anything else to say, I think we're ready to adjourn. Bobby, do you have anything?
Yes, I have a comment I would like to make. First of all, I want to thank our stakeholders for coming today, giving us their support. And it was very informative. We are looking forward to working with these stakeholders, and as we have in the past. And it is our job to keep Chatham County rolling, and we will do so. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. All right. Without further ado, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all so much for sharing, for coming out.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right.